Yo, 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 check it out, check it out, check it out. This is Social Critics. And if you guys haven't heard, this is not Driss. This is Big Kurt Dog.
And he is accompanied by me, by Alpha.
Alpha Omega.
So what we wanted to do today, I could tell that some of the listeners have been yearning for some deep conversation. And we do
Conceptualized.
Yeah, we do it on the regular podcast, but me and Kurt, we really want to delve into this even more so.
Me and A, we share a taste for philosophies and human interaction, human behavior, psychology. You guys don't hear our conversations dolo, so we just figured that me and him just team up and give some to us, because not everybody likes this stuff like psychology, human behavior, but some people love it.
Well, I think people get scared when they hear that, because they're like, "Oh, here we go." They're
and on top of that, some people might find it just boring.
Yeah, but I can assure you, with the things that we're going to be talking about, it's not offensive by any means, but it's some things that go against what not conventional wisdom, but what the popular culture would tell you is
the masses.
Yeah, they would say, well, that's a backwards way of thinking.
Yeah,
where it's not actually. You can find it. We can go back throughout our time on this earth for 200,000 years. We've been on this planet.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
There's some biological
100%.
things that naturally we get into, and that we want to dive into.
So yeah, like I said, I've always been interested in philosophy and all that stuff since I was young. And even before I knew it, I was always that kid just like kind of staring at people watching and like, why would he say that to her? Or why does he move like this? Or why does she think like this? Or what made her do this or him do this?
And then you do a little bit of, well, it's funny when you talk to people and you deep dive into their just a little bit. Yeah. You can figure out, that event shaped the way you think about this entire group of people. Yeah. It was funny. Earlier, I was watching some shit to where this dude is like low key woman bashing.
Yeah.
And I don't think he knew he was doing it.
Yeah.
But it was to the point where I was like, well, what happened to this guy? And then he talked about a really bad breakup he went through. I'm like, that's it.
Ain't that crazy? Like, one thing that really got me is when I listened to Joe Rogan and he had this whole spill. He said he started looking at people different once he had his daughters, because he was saying like, all right, he used to look at people like, oh man, you're just an asshole, or this is a good person. He said once he had his daughters, he looked at everybody now as a kid or as a baby and just wonder what they went through and why they are the way they are now.
Absolutely. I mean, your parents shape who you are as a person,
exactly.
whether people want to admit it or not. We're going to delve into that.
And your parents are people.
Yeah. And their life experiences manifested into how they raised you, or the way their life experiences manifested.
Yeah. People, I mean, it's awesome to hold your parents up on a pedestal, but you got to understand, man, your mom is a female who went through female things just like you or your friends went through, and your dad the same way.
Absolutely.
He was chasing pussy.
Right.
Your mom was dealing with stupid guys who was cheating on her, or maybe just all that stuff. And then somebody just ended up having a baby. So when they come out, you just naturally put your parents like, this is my mom and dad. They're the greatest. They're the smartest people I know. But it's like,
Well, and I know we're going to delve into this extensively, but when you look at your mom when you're growing up, you're like, oh, it's my mom. That's my mom. Or my dad, he can do no wrong, whatever.
Yeah.
But you grow up.
You idolize them.
You grow up and you see your mom and you're like, wow, you really are like every other woman I know.
Exactly.
You gossip. You get offended kind of easily. No, I'm not, and I know I'm kind of generalizing, but
you're generalizing a male and a female.
Well, and I know it's anecdotal, but like I'm going off of my life. Most of the women I've ever been around, just get a drunken night. If one bad thing goes wrong to a chick, she's crying half the time.
True.
Right.
True.
You don't see that with guys.
So, sometimes we take it out. We might just leave, or we want to physically fight.
Yeah.
And that's just the male tendencies, the testosterone overflow.
Goes back to the biological aspect of things.
Exactly.
Women are more emotional. And I get some people will be like, well, generalize.
Yeah, don't be sexist.
Look, on average, yes, women are more emotional than men.
And on top of that, I mean, there's chemicals within the brain of a male and chemicals within the brain of a female and body that lets you know why they act this way.
Yeah, I mean, we're wired differently.
Yeah.
Our brains work differently. That's not to say that one brain is better than the other. They're just different. And that's okay.
That's why I fucking hate it, because it's usually one-sided. Like, men don't ever say, "Oh man, I think just like a woman." No, the woman always says, "Listen, man, I can think just like a guy.
You can't.
I move just like a guy.
Yep.
You don't, and you can't, and you never will."
This is why I really don't like Steve Harvey. Look, I'm joking, but for real, when he wrote that book and you see women out there reading it like, oh, now I can get inside a guy's brain. No, you're not.
No.
To the same token, I'll never be able to pick apart the female.
I didn't read it. I
never read it either, because I'm like, you can't think like me.
Yeah. And that's kind of a cheat code he did.
Well, no, what he did is he made millions of women think that, hey, I can understand my man, and yet you still got cheated on, probably. Because, like, not to say that all guys cheat, they don't, but it's like you're reading a book to try to dissect a specific individual.
Yeah.
We are men and women. Men act like men, but there's a spectrum, too. Like, there's some men who are more emotional than other men. Now, and again, that's what I'm saying, on average. Now, there's outliers. There's going to be some women who are not as emotional as some men. There's going to be some women who are stronger than some men. But on average, when we're talking about, those are outliers. When we're talking about regular, everyday men and women, men are less emotional, women aren't. And that you can't control emotion.
Exactly. Until
you can learn to harness it. But,
yeah. Oh, perfect.
But I didn't even think you can control it.
You can learn to harness it. I never thought about it in that aspect. And on top of that, I was that just sparked me, like, I don't really think books should be written about, hey, understanding the different, like, understanding a male or understanding a female. I feel like books, especially, they should either be, if they're not fiction or nonfiction, like stories, they should only be like looking within self.
Looking to get better.
Yeah, like, and intriguing your mind, not trying to figure out how somebody else thinks.
That'll never. And I mean, I don't know where I read. It might have been Joe Rogan's podcast where I was listening to something where there might be a point where we could read each other's minds, and that's kind of scary.
I think that's honestly. Well, I don't know if we might see it in our time, but I think that's kind of right around the corner.
Yeah. I think within the next 100 years, you'll see that. I don't think that's a good thing. I don't think we should be able to.
Yeah, that's going to be bad.
Yeah.
That's going to be bad. That's like the episode of Black Mirror where you can just rewind your memories. Something like that shit is dangerous, bro.
Oh, shit, man. I mean, we can go into the deep about like, cause I remember I had a history teacher in high school who brought up heaven and hell, and what if heaven were your 10 best memories ever in your life, and then hell was the 10 worst memories you've ever had in your life. That's scary. I mean, now this is off the deep end, but I wanted Kurt to talk about Jordan Peterson a little bit.
Yeah. So Jordan Peterson, if you guys don't know, I just honestly got hip to him probably about the end of last year, like the fourth quarter last year.
I want to say we were watching the Ohio State game when
who kind of hit me like, well, shit, I ain't gonna say kind of. Who basically did was Joe Rogan and Alpha, like, because I've seen Peterson on Joe Rogan's podcast a long time ago, and I just ignored him because I'm like, oh, it's one of them episodes I'm not gonna give a shit about.
Yeah.
So then
I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
Too.
So then he made a reappearance. A lot of it. If you guys don't listen to the Joe Rogan podcast, this dude has like over 1,000 episodes. So he made an appearance maybe like 100 episodes later. So
would you say that probably is the best podcast out right now?
Bro, that podcast, I tell everybody all the time, like, Joe Rogan is my white father. Like, I've been listening to Joe Rogan and a guy named Ron Woody. I'll shout him out. He put me onto Joe Rogan about 5 years ago.
Okay.
And I've been listening to him ever since. Because, I mean, we're going to get back to Peterson, but Joe, bro, he's like I don't want to put nobody up on a pedestal or God form, but he's the most self-aware. He's one of the most self-aware, self-accountable people. Like, and he corrects himself and shits on himself all the time, and that's so good for the society, bro, to see on a mass level.
What's refreshing about him, you talked about it yourself, self-reflective, and the ability to talk to anybody. Like, he gets any and everybody up there, and he's not willing to
he can carry on a conversation.
But it's fascinating how many things he knows. But like,
it's crazy.
Have medical doctors on there, left-wing people, right-wing people. I saw Arian Foster on there. I saw Jamie Foxx on there. Like, he could talk to literally
comedy. His main thing is comedy. He went, and if you guys, a lot of people know Joe, but he was the Fear Factor guy.
Yeah, people know who he is.
Years ago.
Yeah,
but so
the fact that the guy from Fear Factor is now,
and he can kick your fucking head across the street if he wanted to.
But it's amazing. The guy from Fear Factor is now
one
of the more leading people go to for like intellectual stimulation.
Yeah, what would you label Joe Rogan as though?
Like a fucking jack of all trades. Yeah, I don't know. Like, you can't
because honestly, Joe is a philosopher in his own way.
Yeah, like, weirdly enough, I don't know if he'd be the person to say that, but
he won't say. Yeah. But that's the thing about Joe. He won't say. That's what makes you love him, because he doesn't want to be put in a certain way.
The accountability that he holds is what I'm really impressed with.
And the biggest accountability he knows is, hey, I'm human just like you. I put my fucking socks on just like you.
Absolutely. And that's, but to tie this back into Jordan.
Yeah. So Jordan, he was on there, and for guys who don't know, Jordan Peterson and Brett Weinstein, they were the professors at Toronto.
Well, I think Brett was at Evergreen.
Okay.
Jordan I've worked at a couple of universities, but he was, I think recently he works at the University of Toronto.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
where did the riot?
Well, the riot happened. It wasn't a riot.
It was like a, what would you call it?
Black students there were having a white appreciation, or it was a day without white people is what they tried to have. And Brett Weinstein was like, yo,
that's racist as
fuck.
That's
racist. You can't kick an entire group of people off of campus for a day. If you want to go off of campus and say, hey, we're removing ourselves for the day, fine. But you can't kick an entire race off. That is racist.
That's racist as fuck.
Like, and I know somebody will say, well, that's reverse racism. I don't believe in that term. It's either racist or it isn't racist.
Yeah. But there's no gray. There's really no gray.
Yeah, so he long story short, Brett lost his job for making a not blatant, but an obvious statement.
Very obvious and very well needed to be said. It was other teachers who were bitching up. Like,
and then in Jordan's case, he got in trouble for not wanting to learn 57 gender pronouns.
Yeah. So you guys, I'm pretty sure you guys have at least heard 4 or 5 of them. Yeah. You got Zers, Zims, him, hers, and all this stuff, and they actually put this into the law, like
in Canada. Yeah,
that's fucking crazy.
Wild. And we're gonna talk about the transgender thing on the regular.
That's going. Y'all get prepared for that one.
Yeah, on our social critics.
Yeah, so Peterson went through that, and he had another one where a lot of kids was yelling at him through bullhorns and showing up to his lectures like banging on glass, showing up at the back of his classes, people, like inside of a facility, inside an actual classroom with seats. There are kids in the back with bullhorns and picket signs. He's yelling that you're racist, don't listen to him. Yeah. He's against women. He's a blah, blah, blah.
And guess what? They haven't even listened to any of the lectures. Because the thing is he's not really, I can assure you, well, let me not say I can assure you, I don't know him personally, but I'm off of watching his shit.
Yeah.
He's talking about a lot of psychological things. He's talking about how the human mind works and how to better yourself as a human being, essentially. Yeah. The transgender thing, he was just like, look, I don't feel like we should be forced to learn 57 different pronouns. I'll respect you for who you are, but you can't, that's a violation of free speech. That's all he was pretty much getting at.
Yeah. And he was breaking down, like, if you open those, not saying that the people who want to be specified as these pronouns or anything, I'm not saying that they're bad people or anything, but he was saying if you open up those gates of hell of just turning that into law and blah, 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 that will lead to the demise of a country because it's too much. Like,
well,
you're putting power.
When you police people and say that you can't say certain things,
it's only a matter of time.
Look at what happened with Stalin in Russia. That led to 20 million people, upwards, allegedly 15 to 20 million people losing their lives.
Look at fucking Nazis.
Yeah, I mean, come on. No matter how odious the speech is, like, if it's a Nazi talking about killing people, that's a threat. That's different. Yeah, but if he's talking about, I believe that my race is superior to another, I think that is disgusting. I think we all can say that's disgusting.
That's very disgusting.
But he's allowed to do that. Right? Yeah, the Klan's allowed. They're allowed to have
freedom of rally.
Yeah,
and the crazy thing about Peterson is I believe he's slipping my mind, but I believe he has Jewish in him. And in his house, that's the guy who worked the foreword of his book. I can't remember his name right now. I have it down on my phone. I'm sorry. I will put it into the details. But he breaks that because him and Peterson have they talk all the time. So he said he went over his house, and he has, like, of course, copies, not originals, of pictures that Hitler and all them like drew and stuff. He has that in his house because he tried to. He's a very, like, detailed guy into why are you thinking like this? So his main basis was, how can you think so?
How can you be that odious of a person? How can you be that disgusting?
But you're doing it in the name of good. You want to kill all these Jews to purify
the race, or purify the country,
earth. Country.
Like, because but
think about that. Like, you're trying to kill people to make something better. Think about how contrast and contradictive that is.
Yeah,
that's insane.
You know how crazy it is, but because what you just said is phenomenal. It's not a matter of glorifying Hitler. He's trying to figure out how could somebody think this about an entire group of people, but the way that Hitler went about it. Disgusting human being, but the way he went about it was extraordinary. It was
extraordinary.
He's saying, I want to create a master race. Here's how I'm going to go about doing it. I want blonde hair, blue-eyed people.
He had a goal and set it forth.
And eugenics, it's a bad name. In a weird way, human beings, we naturally do that. Now, I don't want people to misconstrue what I'm saying, so I'm going to elaborate a little bit.
Yeah. I want you to elaborate.
Yeah. So naturally, all right, men like women with fat asses. All right. Girls like taller men, whatever, so on and so forth. But we look for these certain traits in a partner to make sure we create a child that could be the healthiest, strongest, whatever, naturally. All right. Eugenics is kind of like that in the sense that, all right, we want to purify. We want the smartest, the brightest people. Now, eugenics is
you want shit. You want the smartest, the brightest, the healthiest, the fastest,
it's disgusting
the strongest.
To go do that by killing off an entire group.
Yeah, that's insane. Which he was.
Yeah, and that's, you want to kind of get to the point where it's like, well, how could he think this way about an entire group of people? And the way he went about it was so smart, and it was. If you read up on Hitler and some of the we talked about this probably 3 or 4 months ago. The NASA program that we have here was ran by a former Nazi. Forget his name.
I can't remember. And I think he was cousin to the guy who helped make the hydrogen bomb or something like that.
I mean, these were brilliant people. Like the Nazi scientists,
brilliant.
Russia and the United States picked these people after World War II,
and they still hold.
It was Operation Paperclip.
There
was 1,000 Nazi scientists that were brought over to the U.S. And we brought them over. Like, y'all are brilliant people. The head of our fucking NASA department was a fucking former Nazi. Used to hang Jews outside of his house in Berlin.
That's fucking crazy. It was like the 3 slowest Jews that were not keeping up with everybody. He would hang them 3 new ones every day.
Yeah.
And that people would have to walk in and see these fools hanging like, oh shit, I can't fall down.
It's disgusting what they did, but then you're also just like, how are these people are fucking brilliant?
Tell me that's like the most orangest carrot in front of that horse.
Shit.
You feel me? Like you're gonna work.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You gonna work.
He did that to motivate those people.
Self-preservation.
Holy shit. Yeah, I mean, and again, we're also, when we're talking about this, we're freely thinking, we're trying to express our ideas and shit like that and break it down. So I want to make sure people don't think I like eugenics. No,
no. But we're just trying to explain what I wouldn't mind us. Later on down the line, getting into a whole segment of that. Yeah, because that's important, bro. Especially with something like CRISPR coming out.
Yeah, well, and that I wanted to bring that up. That's kind of a form of in a way. Like we want the bright, the strongest, the fastest, the smartest, the most beautiful.
We do that now, though. That's why we pick. That's why when a female sees a guy like Alpha who's 6'7", she like, ooh, well, my baby.
I'm not 6'7", but I get what Kurt's saying.
Yeah, my baby. Ooh, and it's a hormone within them. Like we all naturally want that. Like, and that's what. This is what I love what Peterson broke down for is gender roles. Like naturally, he was saying guys, there's three. He was saying there's three. How the fuck did he say it? There's three ways that we look at women, far as like productivity wise.
Holy shit! Yeah, go ahead.
So, and no, I'm sorry. I take that back. I retract that. Brett Weinstein said this.
I was like,
Brett Weinstein said this.
Oh, this was brilliant. By the way,
so he said there's three ways that men look at women, far as like, sexual wise also. So one of them is the worst one, the one that really nobody does and really psychopaths do, and that is rape. Some people look at that and...
Quick disclaimer before you get into the other 2 points about rape. What I'm, again, please don't misconstrue what I'm trying to say. Rape is a natural occurrence.
Yes. It's been happening.
Yeah. And when I say that, it happens in what Kurt was going to say. It happens in nature.
Exactly.
All right. Exactly. Murder happens in nature. Now we've evolved from our animal brethren. We're still animals, but we've evolved. We're the most complex organisms on the planet.
That word, animal brethren, because that's exactly what they are.
We're the most complex human beings organisms on the planet. So we've evolved to know that's horrible behavior. Yeah. And, we've set laws and government and religion plays a factor. We'll talk about that later. Yeah. But I wanted to put that out there because when he's bringing up the fact that rape there's three things that men look in a woman. Rape is one of those things, and people would hear that and be like, well, what? But it's true.
That's very true. Rape happens, like you said, it happens in nature. And Alpha brought that up. He's brought that up probably like, I'll say about a month and a half, 2 months ago, where he's been saying it kind of often, and it's been sticking in my head like, if it happens in nature, it's natural.
Right,
like, there's gay animals.
Absolutely.
Like animals, the same sex has the same
and that's the reason I can never be against gay people, because I'm like, that's who they are.
Yeah.
Right, but I want you to finish. I wanted to point that out.
So the other two were men. We look at women. The other two ways we look at women, as in he actually brought up a example as he said, all right, close your eyes. Can you think of a woman that's beautiful but not sexy? So that's kind of hard to do for us, like, because our brain, it's a natural instinct to go like, oh, she's beautiful. I want to have sex with her.
Yeah,
that's just natural.
Well, I think beauty is. Well, I want you to explain it too.
I don't fully understand it.
I think what he said in it was, close your eyes. Can you imagine a girl who's beautiful, and you're like, and you could be, Can you imagine a girl who's hot, and you'd be like, Now, is there a difference between the two? And you're like, men, there is and that's the other two that he was trying to talk about.
Yeah. So he was saying like, all right, when two of the other parts where it comes to sex, we naturally go to that one to where it's like, all right, I just want to. He said, you just want to impregnate her and then leave. You have those type of women, so you don't invest that quality time, that intellectual time. You're going straight off the pheromones that she gives. You're going straight off her figure, how she talks, how she moves, how she walks. And then the third one is, I want to pregnate her and have the best baby because I see she has the best genes that I like. So she's smart, she's healthy. She has, some people see fat asses as like, it's you can bear.
Yeah,
you're very bearing.
Well, it's the reason why women in the past naturally they say it's not a matter of wanting a guy who's super tall. It's more of they want a guy who's taller than them for protection. Exactly. That's a biological. Perfect. Yeah. So you don't have to be fucking 6'8".
And then worry about another lobster coming and knocking your ass
so
up.
If you're with a woman who's 5 foot, if a woman's 5'2", she would. I'm not telling what women should go after.
Yeah.
But as long as he is taller more often than not, and this was, I think Brett Weinstein's wife broke this down.
Yeah.
They want a guy who's
very smart woman.
Brilliant woman. She said they want a guy who's taller, not necessarily 6'9", but just taller. All right, for protection reasons. It's why they like guys with muscles or like so on. And as we've evolved as human beings, being intellectual, being smart is a form of survival.
Yeah, self-preservation.
Absolutely. So they're going to want to be with a smarter guy too to protect them and financially, let's just say. Not to say the women can't go out and earn their own dollar, but it's just in case they were to pass, they know that the husband's there and he can support the children financially.
Yeah. And I don't know if it was Brett or Peterson who brought it up, but the thing that changed that landscape as far as like mating, as far as male and female was contraceptives and birth control. That changed a major. People don't look at something so.
It was Brett who said that.
It was Brett.
Yeah.
Okay, so but it seems so small because it's so prevalent, but it literally changed the foreground because now a woman can have sex with a guy and that's that. Like, I just liked him for his muscles. I just liked him because he has a lot of money.
Sure.
So back in the day when this wasn't.
Well, I got a quick question. Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it might be a bad. I'm going to lean more. I'm pretty sure there's perks to it, but I'm going to lean more towards bad because women are naturally nurturing and they have certain chemicals that's why we said earlier, women think, oh, I can think like a guy. I can have sex just like a guy can, but you can't. So if you're having sex like a guy does have sex, which is prominent, like we can just boom, 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 get up, go, boom, 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 get up, get. Women, they want to find that one natural connection. So when they do try to jump into, I guess, quote unquote, the mindset of a guy, that fucks them up when they have sex with multiple dudes.
Sure. And there's and it's not to say, because my personal feeling is, if you, and I know, I'm pretty sure Curtis feels the same way. I really don't give a fuck what you do with your life.
True.
If you do want to suck and fuck 100 different dicks,
that ain't the dicks I'm sucking and fucking.
Yeah, like
that ain't got nothing to do with me.
Do that. That's on your accord. What we are trying to get at though is, and you brought up a great point that Brett was bringing up with the contraceptives and shit like that. Before contraceptives, you had to be selective as a woman to who you were going to have sex with because there's a fear of getting pregnant. And that guy could leave you. The whole reason we have laws on the book that make men have to stay. Yeah. Or that's what marriage kind of formed out of, was it was a security blanket for women. Now I do think the laws need to be updated a little bit. Like
that might be a dope topic. Marriage, like, I never thought about that.
Yeah, well, it was more so, hey, you don't get to run out on this woman after you just got her pregnant. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Because that's what animals do. The guy gets the woman pregnant, boom, he's out. He's out mating with other women.
Side note, this is how, like, a dolphin's way of not a contraceptive, but a security blanket is when they have sex with they have sex with so many male dolphins in their area. Once she feels that she's pregnant, she'll have sex with so many, because male dolphins will kill the baby. But male dolphins won't kill their own baby. So when she has sex with them, she has that baby. So whenever that guy shows up, he sees like, okay, I had sex. Ooh, that might be my baby. Let me not kill it. Yeah. So that's why she has sex with all of them.
Well, wow, I never knew that.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Quick tidbit.
Wow, and this is why we keep saying, hey, we're not. If I've gotten to become more of a science-based person. Yeah. Like if science
and it's crazy, bro. Me too.
Yeah. Well, because I feel like that's the only way, because science it's not racial. It's not.
Science is everything, bro. Well, it's math. It's biology.
Yeah, and what's great about it is just like, it can explain more about the world than us.
Exactly. Right? Our personal opinions.
Sure. Everybody has their own personal opinion. Science is what you've heard it before.
Science backs it up.
You've heard the phrase men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
Exactly.
Look, same thing. Like, that's why I'm going to go off of that over how you feel about a specific thing. I don't want to exclude your feelings out of it. I want to listen to what you have to say, but I also got to go with statistical evidence. And I think that's what when you touched on those three things, what was it? Hotness, attractive, and
you want to have sex with a woman just to have sex with her, impregnate her, and leave. Mm-hmm. Then you want to have sex with the woman, impregnate her, and see yourself building a future. And then the other one is that tragedy of people who want to rape women, which is fucking crazy.
Yeah, scum. Yeah. So what Brett also brought up was, with those two particular things, excluding rape, was hotness versus beauty.
Yeah.
And more often than not, when you say, hey, who would you want to be with for the long term, the hot woman or the beautiful woman?
Exactly.
Most men will say the beautiful woman. You want to have sex with the hot one, which is cool, dope.
Yeah.
But you see yourself being with the beautiful one for the long term. And I think some
because beauty isn't beauty is an aura. It's not.
It's the reason why you could look at.
It's not symmetry.
Sure. I'll look at like a Angela Bassett. Let's just give her. Yeah. She's aged wonderfully. She looks
very
great,
wonderful.
But it's also the fact that she has like this warm feeling to her. I guess you could say,
and I think that comes from children.
Sure,
I feel like that's what makes a woman. So I feel like a woman is more beautiful after she's bare or she can bear.
Especially if that's like the mother of your child. Yeah, she becomes more beautiful to you, I guess.
I'm so glad that you brought that up, because now I'm starting to look, because I'm becoming an older male, and I'm starting to see how important it is for conversation and interaction of male and female conversation. Because back in the day, you would just talk about the fellas. You would talk with the fellas just about women, and the women would talk about fellas with their girls.
Sure.
But as you get older, you realize we both need to be talking to each other.
Sure, absolutely.
So we can learn different backgrounds and intricate perspectives. And so as I get older, I'm seeing that, like, I see how I would if I had a family, I would kill for them, bro. Because when you look at your girl and she's birthed your child, she just that's such another level.
Oh, absolutely.
You'll see her just in this like aura of like, I will kill somebody for my wife,
and
bro.
I want that to parlay into kind of fathers being in the home.
Yes.
Because I think that's a great point. There's kind of been a little bit of a wave to where I think people think that, well, I don't think most people think this, but I think there's some individuals out there who are saying, well, she's a single mother, she can still take care of the kid, yada, yada, yada. You don't need the father. And I think that is complete and utter bullshit.
Very utter bullshit.
Kids need their father.
Of course you can do it.
Yeah. It's not we know that.
Yeah, there's many men out here or women out here who are very successful, very bright, brilliant, who say, "Oh, my mom my mom had 8 jobs. She never was around. I had to do this on my own. But she just made sure I stayed fed. We were poor."
And that makes a lot of women incredible.
But those are outliers, bro.
Yeah, look, these are incredible women who are able to do that.
Yeah,
you shouldn't have to do that. That guy should be there. And because me and Curtis off the podcast talked about this a little bit a few days ago.
Yeah,
a woman is, the child needs the mother really for the first 2 to 3, 4 years, 5 years of their life.
Yeah.
I would say the cutoff line is 10 years old.
10 years, yeah.
Once that kid, especially a boy, he hits...
I would say a girl 10, a boy 8.
Okay. Yeah,
because that's when the hormones really start kicking in. You start being more violent, and
boys are acting up.
Yeah.
And
so you need that dominant law, which is the male
figure.
Yeah,
especially when a boy hits puberty, he's not physically when the physical threat of his mom, like, I'm gonna
die down.
I'm gonna give you a spanking if you do this. He's like, whatever. But your father being there, it's like,
he'd knock your ass out.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, you keep fucking up, I'm gonna tell your dad. Watch how the child immediately gets into, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it's not a matter of being a physical it's more like that's the male figure, that's the authoritative figure in the situation. The child needs that. Like, so
it needs the perfect. Nothing's perfect. It needs that balance, because even after you do have to pass them along to their father or at a certain age, but he still needs nurturing, or she still needs nurturing, and reassurance of love, because especially males, we show love in a different way. It's called hard love. That's where the term comes from.
Yeah. And I think that fathers, they should parent their their children differently based off of the sex. I think the dad does need to show love and affection to the daughter so she can grow up and want that in a man.
Exactly.
She needs to set a great example of him taking care of his of her mother,
and that'll show
she can
her
find that in a man.
And that'll show her that love and affection doesn't just come from sex. Mm-hmm. See, what happens when women don't have that father figure? Sex is a beautiful thing, but we've made it to women when they don't. How can I put it? When they have sex, that's their way of like, oh my God, this guy loves me, or he wouldn't have sex with me.
Yeah,
but. Like I said, you can't think like a guy. A guy is just like, oh, there's a hole. Ooh.
Yeah.
Like,
well, you got to think from a woman's standpoint. You're letting someone enter your body.
Yeah. So like, you just like, he loves me. Sure. And then next thing you know, when that guy just dips out and then the next 3-4 guys dip out, now you're fucked up.
Well, you're trying to fill an emotional void. And it's not just your father, like, not being there. There could be other reasons.
There can be plenty of other reasons.
And I'm not,
but again, that's a big stamp.
We're not trying to say, hey, woman, you should only find one person to fuck
with.
Again, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't give a fuck enough about your life to tell you what to do.
True.
So like that is the number one disclaimer. Yeah, so if you want to do that, cool. We're just saying you seen an example of your father being great towards your mother. For both men and women is a great thing, but for women especially, seeing her dad show affection to a mother, that could be like, look, I expect the same thing out of a man that I date. I expect a man to be as hardworking as my father was, and who shows affection to me like my father showed my mom.
I'm glad that you brought that up. That needs to be seen. That needs to be seen. And it needs to be seen, like you said, reinsurance. It needs to be seen a lot and very often.
Sure.
You get up when you're making breakfast, you see your dad kiss your mom every morning, or when you get home, they hug each other, or they're just conversating.
Yeah, I mean,
you need to see that.
Boys can learn from that too, and especially
boys learn a lot from that.
And when they see their dad, also, if you have a father who's always held you accountable, but he's held himself accountable, you're gonna grow up to be that way. Like, and I'm not saying
exactly
when I say father, I'm saying father figure.
Yeah, and you brought that up off the podcast. I didn't really think about it like that. Because the father, it's not necessarily your biological dad, but you need to have a father figure who, because most men, we have principal laws. Now, some of them aren't good, some of them are shitty or just not as concrete, but it's their law.
Absolutely. And I mean, you've heard. Just take a basketball player, and he's like, I had my father, but my coach was like my second father.
Exactly.
That's the same. Look, a father figure, someone who's gonna hold you accountable, but still loves you. You'll see a coach scream at his kid, but he'll take him to the side and be like, "Look, hey, I still love you. If you need anything, yada yada yada." And I think that's what boys need. Someone I heard a stat. I heard a stat the other day. It was wild that single parenthood has gone up over the last.
Really?
Over the last, I want to say.
I thought it was going down.
No, it's gone up. I'm not going to throw it out there because I'm not 100% sure of the stat.
Yeah.
But it has been trending.
I thought we was entering sad to say. I thought we was getting into a newer wave to where it was like dads aren't playing that shit anymore. I think it's now. I think over a steady course of time it had gone. Well, because in the 1960s there were black fathers. I'm talking about there's a lot of black fathers in the household. Definitely.
There was a huge decline in the 1970s and 80s. Some of that had to do with policies and crack.
Crack was probably a major one.
A lot of it. And I think now you're seeing a generation of kids who are like, okay, I didn't have a father. I'm going to be there for my kid.
So how many years had that been? What, about 40 years?
Yeah, there was a decline.
Before the thing switched on in our
1970s, 80s, 90s, even into the 2000s, it was definitely rising in single motherhood.
Where niggas was just like, she ain't my baby.
And it's not just the black community. It rose with white people too. It's kind of, and I'm not.
I think that's a whole thing that's on its own to talk about.
And I'm not even I'm not a right-leaning person like that. But people on the right will talk about family values. And you hear a lot of people on the left kind of scoff. They go, "Oh, here they go with the family values thing." It's not a bad concept. And
definitely not.
Where do we get family values from? Religion. Now, I wanted to talk about that. Before we delve deep into this religion talk, what are your thoughts on religion?
I think religion is needed. I don't think it's of course it isn't wanted all the time. And of course there's cons to it, but it creates a law within chaos. So in this world, everybody thinks they have it figured out, but nobody can cure the common code. You feel me? Like,
okay.
So
I like that.
Yeah, we use this quote unquote. I'm trying to think of another word that I can use for religion, but just guideline of just act like this, do this, and your life will be good.
Yeah. And
the part that gets on my nerves, not saying that I don't believe in heaven or hell, but it's set up to where act like this, do this specifically, and then you'll get here, of the very special place. But if you don't get on that road, you're going to a very bad place.
Well, it's to scare people.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So my thoughts on
children.
Yeah, that's what's
they start when you're children, bro.
And that's, I'll say my thoughts on. I've said it before a little bit on the podcast. Yeah, and when it comes to today, I think religion is outdated. I don't necessarily see it religion. The cons outweigh the pros to me.
Yeah,
I think it's antiquated. I think when religion was formed, we didn't even know how to properly wipe our own asses.
True.
So a lot of the shit, especially, I take the three major monotheistic religions, so Judaism, or Judaism, however you want to pronounce it, Christianity, and Islam. Those three are the most violent forms of religion.
They're
the religions that people subscribe to.
And I think they're the most violent because how old they are.
Sure.
They didn't have... They're the least of the technology and the...
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, now, I don't like Scientology. Scientology is bullshit, too.
I barely even understand Scientology, but it just fucking sounds stupid.
A quick run over of it. Scientology was started by L. Ron Hubbard, who was a fake pseudoscientist in his own right. It's based off...
had like a stupid ass hat on his head.
Yeah,
Once I seen it, I'm like, this dude's a quack.
Yeah. I mean, it's based off of Dianetics, which is pseudoscience. And, the Nation of Islam actually acquired Dianetics. I'm not a big fan of Farrakhan.
Yeah.
But
you don't fuck with Farrakhan?
Well, aside from the fact that he might have got Malcolm X killed, I see why people do like him. And what I mean by that is when he talks about empowering black communities. Yeah. And he does talk about the family structure.
Yeah. I think that's needed.
Yeah, sure. I don't think it's needed from him. I think you can have other people talk about it besides him. And the reason I say that is because...
But I think he's just for the masses.
He's a really big anti-Semite. And he's not the biggest supporter. Actually doesn't like gay people at all. And he's not
he's very prolific with that.
Yeah, he's not very pro-woman either. There's a lot of bad things.
Really?
No.
I can't get that vibe.
Yeah, I mean, there's a clip of him comparing, people were like, well, and this is kind of his words. I wish I had a video to show or something like that. But he said, they've compared me to Hitler. They say that my rhetoric is kind of like Hitler. And then he pauses for a bit and then he's just like, I guess I'm Black Hitler. And I'm paraphrasing here.
Yeah.
But
wow.
Look, there's a video and I'm not taking it out of context either. It gets pretty bad. But I don't want to really talk about Farrakhan. I want to talk about religion as a whole.
Fuck him.
It's not me going, because there's a lot of religious leaders. That's just the Nation of Islam, but there's Jerry Falwell, who is a Christian leader. I believe I said his name wrong. Whatever. Yeah. But there's a lot of Christian leaders that I have a problem with too. I have a problem with Joel Osteen. I'll tell you why I have a problem with Joel Osteen. I have a problem with anyone who's made $50 million preaching a mythical thing that you can't prove. Well, okay, I'm calling it mythical. I'm sorry. I don't want to be offended. I totally don't want to.
Guys, this disclaimer. This is not. These are literally our personal thoughts. We're not trying to shit on anything.
Yeah. So, but he's selling something that you can't prove exists. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
And for him to be worth $50 million is like, wow. For churches to not get taxed, to me, is like, that's foul. I don't fuck with that. Why should we build a massive church and they don't have to pay taxes? We funnel our money to them, all for a mythical place that what I believe to be a mythical place.
But honestly, I think it's kind of fair because
why do you think so?
it's not a business. Like, it's a business within itself, but far as think about it on the smallest scale you can. I built a joint with 4 walls and a roof. I read off of a book. People want to give me money.
Well, then we could say that, well, Apple, I created this laptop and people want to give me money for it. They're selling
an actual product.
Okay. Yeah, this is a mythical thing. And I think Apple's a horrible example.
You can't touch faith. You can't
I will say Apple's a bad example because I don't think they had to pay taxes. Either Apple or Amazon didn't have to pay taxes.
Really?
And it was some. Yeah, so that's a bad example. But you're saying since there's not a tangible product,
exactly. All they're selling is hope. You can't touch hope.
Think about how amazing that is, and kind of fucked up.
It's very fucked
it's like,
up.
Wow, you can't prove that this thing even exists, but yet you're gonna make money off of it. Wild. That's
why most preachers and deacons and ministers and I think they're like small scale congressmen and presidents. Like, know that there's fucking skeletons in that closet, buddy.
Well, look at the Catholic Church. They're fucking little. They were. Exactly. I don't know if they still are. They're fucking little boys.
I guarantee it.
But they're fucking little children.
I guarantee it.
But I know I went off, and people will pretty much know I don't fuck with religion like that. But I will say there are great things about religion.
Yes, very great things.
And that's why I wholeheartedly understand why people subscribe to it. The reason I'm saying that is because, all right, when you're selling hope, I think that personally, I think it's a bad thing, but I understand why people are hopeful.
Yeah.
It's scary to think that when you die, you end up in the dirt for all of eternity.
We all need as much freedom as we claim that we want, we still want and need rules. Structure.
Absolutely. And that is why I say religion was needed when it first was created. You needed, because people, there's a specific phrase that you had in your notes, I believe, about how people were lost, and it's chaos in one scenario, or there's a bunch of chaos when people aren't.
Oh yeah. Oh fuck, I can't remember it. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Think about it.
Without with group, well, like the group think thing.
Yeah.
So when people without religion and group think, as you will, like there would just be straight chaos. But with it, I don't want to confuse people because I feel like I'm confusing myself. So if we all didn't believe in a religion or just a sense of order, everybody will go crazy. You'll be killing this. You'll be jumping off roofs. Who cares about preserving this? Fuck animals. But without that, there's chaos. But with that, when this group over here believes something, so say the West, as in, West, us, United States, we believe in this. So that's why we fight with the Muslims and stuff, because now that we have a group think of our own, and so do they. Now we shit on theirs, and they shit on ours.
Muslims, we mean the Middle East, not all Muslims. But
the Middle East. Yeah, Middle East. True that.
But I think that's a great point.
Yeah.
When you see, and this is, I don't, again, not trying to offend. Every major monotheistic religion is violent, was violent. Yeah. That's why when people say, well, we need to ban all these Muslims because their religion's too violent. We got to look back at Christianity. It was violent at one point. Judaism has been violent. Yeah. Right now, yes, Islam is the most violent, but it hasn't always been.
But is it our job to step in?
Well, I don't know. That's because we've done it before and it's backfired, and then we've not stepped in and it's been bad too.
Yeah, so I think that falls back on that.
To your point.
I feel like that falls back onto our religion too. We build our own sense of moralities that, like, hey, I don't want to let you do this. I think it's hurting this person or hurting your country. Let me step in and take care of this bully. But it's like, look at it from their perspective also.
Yeah.
Like, leave me alone. I'm not coming and shitting on you or sliding into your territory and fucking shit up.
Well, and that's the argument that a lot of people have made, is that we went over there, we bombed the fuck out of them. We don't really have the right. When the Obama administration was sending drones over into the Middle East and they knew that a suspected terrorist would be at a specific location.
Yeah.
So they would say he was at a wedding. All right, this particular terrorist. So they would bomb the entire wedding, killing innocent people.
Fucking crazy.
Killing innocent people. Yeah, they may have got that terrorist, but they killed 15 to 20 other people in the process.
And they call that a collateral damage.
Yeah, and guess what? And you're going to be shocked when these people don't like you now?
Yeah, exactly. You just killed kids, family dogs, wives, mothers.
So that's why when they say death to America, you
can't blame them.
Yeah,
I mean, I love America.
Yeah, I love America.
We wouldn't be here if we didn't love it. Right. But you can't. If somebody smacks your fucking ice cream on the floor, you're not gonna look at that person and say thank you. Like, oh well, it was an accident.
Thank you for killing this terrorist and also wiping out.
Yeah, you got Bin Laden, but you also killed my mother in the process.
Yeah, absolutely. But that I look at what goes on in Syria now. And this doesn't get as much coverage on the news as it should. And I think
so crazy because they showed a lot on Vice, right?
Yeah, Vice does a lot of good things with that. Yeah. You got to go on YouTube if you really want to know what's happening over there. Yeah. But I think last week alone or the last 2 weeks, 500 people have died.
Wow!
Imagine if there were 500 people who died in 2 weeks in the West, say in Europe or in the United States. Yeah. We
would flip the fuck out.
Holy shit! Right, and that happens every day. There's been but
it's so scattered.
500,000 people in Syria have died since the start of that war, and 13 million people displaced. I believe that's the accurate number.
That's an epidemic of chaos, bro.
Absolutely, and I see that, and when I'm like, well, how do you believe there's this higher power who's watching this happen? Go back to the Rwanda genocide of the 1990s, where 1 million people died in 3 months, more than the amount of people who died in World War II, or in that time frame during World War II. All right, then you go back to World War II and you see 6 million Jews died, and I'm supposed to sit here and say, well, yeah, there's this mythical being, quote unquote.
He takes care of us. All I have to do is put my hands together, talk out loud.
Yeah,
and he's gonna save me and my baby.
And my thing is and there's a lot of Jewish people after World War II who were very religious, who they went through the Holocaust and they're like, how could a God allow this to happen to me and my people? Yeah. You feel me? So I look, and
that's what causes.
That.
But that's why I said sometimes I think pro is good. The hope is what keep people going. The hope is that order within chaos, bro. Like, so it's, if you really looked at it, was like, if people was just like, man, you look at those people who went through something so tragic and they were so holy. Mm-hmm. So when something like that happens to them, their baby dies for no reason, or their mother gets killed in a terrorist act, you see them go fucking the complete opposite and go crazy. Because now they like, man, I've been following this shit and following all y'all rules and I've been doing good, and it still happens. Right. Fuck y'all. Absolutely. Fuck this. And then you create terrorism and motherfuckers who want to just blow people up for no reason.
Yeah, for no reason, now because there's no structure.
Exactly. So that's what the world would be.
Yeah. So that's a great point. I mean, you look, you brought up hope, and I like that you brought that up, because when you think about slaves, all right, imagine being a slave. You're working 16 to 18 hours in the hot.
Not slavery. Slavery's not dope, but how you slid that in. Yeah.
So absolutely not dope. You're working 16 to 18 hours in the hot Georgia sun. All right, you get one meal a day, maybe. You're getting limited amount of sleep. You're getting beaten. All of this disgusting things that happen.
Verbally beaten is sometimes worse than the fucking physical.
And the women are being raped, and
your wives.
Yeah,
and you can't do nothing but sit back.
And they're being raped to produce another slave. Right? And
that's insane.
But
bro.
what kept their hope alive was that 1 hour a day on a Sunday where they could go to church and pray. And you know, to me, that's like, wow, you still have hope after all of that.
Well, check this out, though, bro. Mm-hmm. So, did it not phase out, though? It might have took a long time.
But you think...
And this is where I'm about to tie this Mother Nature and the Father of Law.
Okay, I love those.
This is how I'm about to tie this.
Before
in.
you do that, I wanted to make a point about slaves,
yeah,
maybe having hope isn't the greatest thing, because or not having hope is the greatest thing, but how big of a manipulator those slave owners were.
Yeah,
to be like, all right, they will still work for me if I give them that hour a day where they get to pray and shit. That's how I keep them sane. That's how I keep them working.
And my big, we're going to touch on this probably. I'm going to get to like the discipline aspects of, accountability and stuff towards the end, but they didn't know how to read. Like, if you don't know how to read, like the past will definitely present itself again.
Even. But with that, the slave owners made sure they didn't learn how to read.
Yeah, it was against the law for them.
If they learned how to read, guess what happened? Guess what? When they realize, once we start reading and we read these books and we're smart enough to know this is bullshit. Harriet Tubman happens. Boom. Frederick Douglass happens. All of these slave revolts happen.
Boom.
That's why they tried to suppress that. And
I can't wait till we get to that part.
And I low key think that's why they let them have the church thing, because it's like, this is the one thing that'll keep them going. Great. Yeah. They'll still be working. But I wonder
how they did. So I'm not too up to date on like for when they had their churches. Were there black
that's a great
people like reading the Bible, or were there white people in there?
I'm assuming it was a white pastor who was reading the shit. I don't know. That's a great question. I should look that up.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up too. Yeah.
But
that's kind of crazy.
The phenomenal Mother Nature versus Father Law. I love that phrase right there.
Guys, I've been reading. I'm not. This book is thick as shit. I'm probably on like I read the foreword and I'm probably like maybe 12, 13 pages into the first chapter, but it gets to a good point of we have within the universe there's Mother Nature and there's Father of Law. So it breaks down in the book. Okay, I'm pretty sure you guys, it's going to relate to a lot of other things that we know too, far as like zodiac signs and whatnot. So when you guys see that serpent, the two serpents, one is eating the tail and then the other one is eating the head, most of the depictions of them, one serpent is white, which represents order. Mm-hmm. Once the other serpent is black, which represents chaos. Now, within that white serpent, which represents order, there's a black dot within the eye. Mm-hmm. And within that black serpent, which represents chaos, there's a white dot in that eye. So that black dot within the white serpent, it's basically saying there's chaos within order, and vice versa. There's order within chaos. So, sorry if that was confusing, guys, but I'm going to break it down. I like to go to I think it's easier when you compare the weather. So, or just nature. So, say when it rains. Let's just say fucking Ohio weather. It's fucking we get the best of or the worst, however you want to think about it, of Mother Nature out here. It can rain one day and snow the next and rain again the next day. So people will call that chaos. That is chaos. That's Mother Nature doing what she has to do. Maybe she's going crazy, but there's a law within that chaos. And that law is when it rains, it's going to rain water. Mm. When it snows, it's going to snow. Yeah. You feel me? It's never going to... How can I say?
Hot lava isn't coming out of the
lava
sky.
Isn't going to come out of the clouds or precipitation. You feel me? Like, that's the law of the universe. So what I like is... what is it when Mother Nature phases out things, and basically like evolution.
Sure. Yeah.
So, and this is why I want to get to the slave thing. Also, I'm going to tie that in. So, Mother Nature has you can call her, but Mother Nature has her own way of making sure that the planet and what is thriving on that planet continues to thrive in its best way, and it will get rid of the old. Mm. So it's all about adaptation. Mm. So
You could tie that into policy.
You could tie that into, but that's that's what I'm saying. That's why those are the two biggest stamps of the universe. They reside around everything.
Mm-hmm. Survival of the fittest.
Yes, you will be phased out, and the father of law, male, the mother nature, female. Why do we breed? To make the best. We don't want the weak. We don't look at a person and we don't look at a woman and be like, "Oh, I want a fat, chubby, slubby kid who don't know stuff." No, we want the best.
Fit.
Exactly.
Athletic prowess.
That's our law, and that's our mother nature phasing out the weak. We want to keep making it better and better and better.
You tie that into CRISPR, what we talked about earlier.
Exactly, but that's. Man, it's so much to tie into this, bro. You can literally never end.
Yo, before the podcast started, we had a conversation. We're like, yo, should we save some of this shit for the podcast? Like, because all of this ties in. I mean, I brought up politics when we're talking about Mother Nature, survival of the fittest. You got a bunch of people here, and specifically in Ohio, who work at steel factories, and it's like, yo, you ain't getting that job back.
Exactly.
Yo, they're being replaced by robots and machines. Yo, you have to learn to pivot.
That's Mother Nature. That's Mother Nature within human society.
Yeah, evolving,
phasing out the old, in with the new.
And it's scary. Sure.
It's very scary. And that's why we was talking about on the last podcast, just as far as technology.
Yeah.
Some people hate it. But guess what? You better learn this shit, or you're gonna be building your next house out of fucking twigs.
Look, and it sucks that you're 50 something years old. You lost your factory job. Life sucks. You gotta learn.
Mother Nature doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah. you gotta learn to adapt. Survival of the fittest. So all these people who voted for Trump, I'm not scolding them. People who voted for Donald Trump. I think that's actually too easy to do.
Yeah.
And it's not. You're not delving into why somebody might have voted for the guy.
Yeah.
Sure, they could be racist and they voted for him too, but there's an ample amount of reasons as to why somebody could have voted for that guy. They voted for him to tie this back to the slave thing. Hope.
Yeah.
When you provide a group of people hope, even if it doesn't make logical sense, you can tie it into the slave thing with religion. Logically, science can pretty much prove why we're here. You don't need religion to do that, but it gives people are afraid of what happens when they die, and that gives them hope.
Yeah, exactly. And it just puts you in a single file line.
Sure.
Everybody's not just scattered across a classroom or on a playground.
And one thing you can say, whatever you want about Donald Trump, he gave people hope, much like Barack Obama did to another group of people.
Obama gave That's the thing people don't say. People, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'm a little bit biased because it's like, hey, that's a black, clean, African-American, clean guy, walks crispy, talks crispy. I'm gonna vote for him just damn near off of characteristics and aura.
And it showed black kids that, hey, you don't have to be fucking ignorant to get people to rock with you. You can be smart.
It gives us hope that we can reach this level also.
Absolutely. Much like now to the Donald Trump thing, he gave them hope in a different way in the sense that, hey, I'm talking about bring back your jobs. We're gonna focus on us. We're gonna bring back these jobs and shit like that.
Yeah.
And people gravitated towards that. However you feel, I don't care how you feel about either one of those people. I'm not using them to say that, you should have voted for him or voted for Clinton. I don't care about any of that. Yeah. I'm saying the reason why people cling on to religion is because of hope.
Exactly.
People in the Middle East, there's a reason why the poorest people on the planet are more often than not the most religious, because they have nothing else to look. They have nothing else to look forward to. When you're living here in the West, and I don't know if you want to get in the East versus the West type of. We kind of touched on it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, but before we jump into that,
we'll get to it a little bit. I wanted to stick
on just this the phasing out of the old and the new.
Absolutely.
This, I'm kind of a hippie guy, so I'll always take it back to how the universe works. So we might see something like you said, political views. It had to phase out the old. Maybe the new isn't what we like, but hopefully, it's not even a hope. Mother Nature has her way of placing in what needs to happen. So we're going through, oh my God, I fucking hate this right now.
Yeah.
But maybe it's going to be best for us in later 5 years, 10 years, maybe for our kids, maybe 18 generations down the line. We can't see it.
Yeah.
But it has its own way, bro, of phasing out those. So, like I said, I wanted to say with the slaves, in the beginning of what was slavery, about 400, I think it was 400 years.
400
people,
yeah,
people
300,
always,
300 to 400.
People go back and forth.
Yeah. Well, slavery's been around forever, but
well,
our version is,
So
300 to 400.
Think about that, like they like hope. That's why I'm not against hope. I'm for it because I know Mother Nature is going to find a way to phase out the old. So yeah, it might have took 400 years, which is like we can't even wrap our minds around that.
Yeah,
but it's still we're able to have this we can both get up and go into a white store right now and buy clothes from white people. We have white friends,
right? So
it took a long time
to get there,
to phase out that old.
I mean, Jim Crow,
bro.
Forgot about that. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, man. So that's what I'm saying. Like, and that is hope. I feel like that's hope. Like,
and I think that's why sometimes when people are like, "Well, we're going back to the old days with Trump," I'm like, "Are you sure? Because I can drink out of that water fountain."
Exactly.
Like,
hey, that's real shit.
Like, I'm like, slow your roll.
That's real shit.
I do think it's. However,
I think that's people's personal insecurities they want to find through Trump and his actions. It's not because we all know, most of us, what Trump doesn't touch so many of our lives.
Yeah, on a day-to-day basis, I'm still kind of doing the same shit.
Exactly. So it's like watching it's a reality TV, it's trash TV, bro. You just want to find somebody to shit on, and usually you're doing it with your mass group of friends because you want to fit in and because you want to feel better about yourself.
Sure.
Oh, look at this guy. He grabs women. I don't do that. Yeah. So then it's like you just get this boost.
Better. You feel better. And that's what
and that's that personal accountability shit.
Sure, absolutely. Like I 100. I'm not a Trump supporter. I
could care less, honestly.
I mean, I think the guy's kind of disgusting. I'm not gonna lie.
Of course, he's as a human being.
Yeah, not because he's the president. I just think he's kind of a bad guy.
Exactly.
But if we're gonna sit here and say, well, oh my God, look at the way he's acting. I'm like, honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest with you. There's a lot of guys who act like that,
and they're fucking neighbors.
Yeah. And they're people that you hang out with. So why aren't you holding that person accountable for the same thing you would hold Trump accountable for?
You hit that nail on the point. You hit that nail on the head because it's like just because they don't do every single little thing that Trump does, they might do 2 out of 3 of those things, but you grew up with them.
Yeah.
But they work with you,
right?
But they let you borrow $100. Oh, you're a better guy. You're a better guy than Trump. Even though you do everything Trump does, shit. You do this for me.
I mean, and it's funny how everything's tying in. When I bring up Farrakhan, the fact that people could look past all the bad things that Farrakhan does and point out 1 or 2 good things about black empowerment.
Slick hair.
Well, he talks about empowering the inner city. Well, okay. You will scold a Trump supporter for just saying, well, you like Trump because you like Trump. How could you like Trump? He's racist. He's sexist. He's all of these things. I'm like, but you still like Farrakhan.
True.
So for me, it's like
pick a fucking side.
Well, it's like that's just cognitive dissonance. That's not just on one end of it's religious people when they say they hate they're really big on morals and acting respectful and doing all of these things and family values, but yet they support Trump, who is fucking porn stars and all of this shit.
It's that contradictive side within all of us, and
absolutely.
that's what Peterson brought up. Just basically, we're not people. See, our generation, we like to say energy and vibe. You want to have a good vibe all the time, good energy all around us. We're not meant to live happy all our life. You're not supposed to aim for that. All we do is walk the thin line between evil and good, because you could cut that guy off in traffic, but then when you come to a stop sign, give that homeless person $1. You're constantly like,
wow.
We're constantly walking that line, bro. So I hate when people take that moral high ground of judgment and shitting on somebody else, but it's like, come on, bro, that, oh my God, let's just say a high moral person who, oh my God, you masturbate? Oh, you're not supposed to do that. You're a Christian. But it's like, okay, but you got a Bible verse tatted on the back of your neck.
Holy shit.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I mean, that's always why I've just kind of scoffed at religion. It's like you could it tells you not to desecrate your body in the Bible.
But you get they'll get bro. One day I feel like I'm gonna see somebody with that scripture on them saying, "Don't desecrate your body."
I'm gonna do this. Like if I was a big enough troll, I would get that tatted on me just to point out how stupid this shit is. But you know what
that's
saying?
funny, man. Hey, that's a good Halloween outfit. Like doing that, but like I'm Mr. Contradictive.
Yeah.
And just do everything that's contradictive, bro.
Absolutely. That'd be hilarious.
That's funny as shit.
But that's just how people are. Like, we are hypocrites.
Like, by nature, though.
But I don't want it to be blatant hypocrisy. I think that's what I want to get at.
Exactly. And hierarchy. Like, we can't stop. We can't take this totem pole that this side is the best, or my friends are the best, or we can't do that.
And that's why I implore people to listen to people who don't think like you.
Exactly. Like, and by what you mean by think by you, also they think opposite. Like, far as like you might think they think bad, but even if they think bad, at least listen.
Ties back into well, I'm gonna try to figure out how they got to this point.
Exactly.
When Peterson is studying, or who's the guy who wrote the Ford? Oh, you don't remember his name?
I can't remember his fucking name.
But when he's saying he has a Hitler paraphernalia, or not paraphernalia, but like Hitler, he studies Hitler.
Yeah.
People will be like, well, why would you study Hitler? Well, you study him.
And you're part Jew.
Yeah. Well, you study him to understand how this occurred and to prevent it from happening again. And you made a point earlier about Trump and saying that, all right, well, maybe he's in office and 5 years from now we'll learn from this. I think in the short term we will. I think, but history repeats itself.
History always it has no. And a friend gave me this little tidbit when he gave side note. Like he was like, first he was like, because we was talking about the Bible and stuff. So he was like, when he's talking about money, he was like, spell out the IRS. I'm like, what? He like literally spell out the letters, the IRS. So I'm like, THEIRS. Theirs. It's their money. Yeah. You feel me? So he's like, spell out history. I'm like, HIS. And he stopped me. He was like, his story. It's going to constantly repeat itself. That's what history is supposed to do. It's his story. Oh, yeah. It's going to keep the father of law. Law doesn't stop. Now, I'm not talking about, people probably thinking I'm talking about that mythical creature up in the sky, but I'm talking about just laws and patterns that it's going to keep going on and on. That's what the world and everything that you look at in the world is made of. A rose is always going to grow as a rose. Sure. A rose is never going to halfway grow into a rose and turn into a fucking daisy. Yeah. It's going to carry out what its law is supposed to do. And Mother Nature is going to make sure it grows. Sure. But the Father puts the law in, it's going to grow like this. Yeah, it's going to grow, but it's going to grow like this, goddammit. Yeah. Like, that's putting your foot down in the house. And Mother Nature's going to create the chaos that may end up killing that. Exactly. That particular rose. But then that rose creates what? Thorns. It adapts. Sure. You feel me? Like, oh shit, I'm too weak. Mother Nature like, don't worry, baby, I got you. Have these thorns. Now the next motherfucker who try to dig you up or bite you hurts itself. You just adapted. Sure. You feel me? And that's everything, Everything adapts. Turtles developed a hard shell in order to protect themselves. You think the motherfuckers was always out here like that? No. They started getting their ass whooped. They evolved. And and Mother Nature was like, hey, you turtles are doing something good for the earth. Let me give you this so you can survive. Wow. That's what, and you know, that's why, to tie it back into male-female relationships. Exactly. When we talk about this, I'm not saying this to offend women, but they are erratic. Yes. Emotionally, they could be erratic. And that's, I mean, and I tie that into Mother Nature. You need it though. This is funny because I'm about to say a rational girl would know what you're talking about. One who really sits back and that's fucking ironic. Yeah. It's ironic. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. But one who will really sit back and think about it. I am the mother. I am the nurturer. Yes, you can have the duties of a male or think like a male, but there's chemicals in your body that you are not going to get rid of. There's a law within you. Yeah. The Father put that there. Right. So think about Mother Nature. Chaos is a menstrual cycle. It's going haywire. Wow. But what is it doing? It's getting rid of the old shit putting in the new shit. When you don't have a period, you'll fucking die. Like,
sure. For real.
Blood clots. Yeah. Like, you go against Mother Nature, bruh, it's shit fucks up. So women who try to think like men, try to move like men, you're going against Mother Nature.
You can try to operate, and I think and that's why I kind of didn't like when Steve Harvey put that book out, because it said, well, okay, you can think like a man, you'll get a man. It's like, no, you won't.
No, you're gonna piss them off. To the
same way, like that's like saying, well, if I thought like a woman, I could understand women. No, I couldn't.
And you can't learn that much in one book. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. I could do the same thing a man does and
expect the same results.
Again,
fuck you.
Disclaimer, again, we don't give a fuck what you do with your life. But if you're asking for advice, I know we're idiot savants. But if you are asking for advice, I would say operating the way a man operates when you're a woman isn't the way to go.
I say if you're the best way you can operate like a man is go after logistics.
Yeah.
Logistics first.
Yeah.
Then put your emotions.
Sure. And we're not saying that women can't be logical.
Oh, women are there's fucking smarter and more logical women around me all the time.
Absolutely. The point I think we're trying to make is naturally, yes, there's being a nurturer means that you have a level of emotional attachment to something that someone else can't or doesn't possess. So women naturally are nurturers. When they have a baby, the baby literally survives off of the mother.
Yeah, literally.
So it's the emotional.
Ain't that amazing, bro?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why I would look at my wife. I'm not gonna say wife, but the woman who birthed my kid, and I see breastfeeding or something, like, bro, that I would develop such a love, bro. Like, I don't think I could withstand it.
Absolutely. And that's why I'm saying the emotional aspect that women have, it's just not the same as men. All right. But that's why you need that structure there to be like, look, all right, you have too much of an attachment to this child. You think this child could do no wrong. I'm here to shape this child to prepare him for the real world. That's my job. Exactly. And I think that's when you see, I think our generation is the generation where people are going to be like, I'm staying in my kid's life because that's the right thing to do. I don't want my child to be destitute.
We're becoming more aware, and I'm not saying the generation under us is worse or bad or whatever.
But I think every generation gets better as the years go on.
Mother Nature has a way. We, not the idiots, it's going to put in the smart ones as they need to. Mm-hmm. But when we was talking about that, it popped in my head. How do you feel about I really don't know. I'm really about to just go off the wind. But how do you feel about maturity? Like, why do women, if they're the chaos of the world, of the emotional side, why do they mature faster than us?
Well, they physically mature faster than us.
Because we might be.
Are you talking mentally? Or?
Like mentally and emotionally. Because I didn't really learn how to tap into my quote unquote emotions, or I'm still laughing at fart jokes and shit. Sure. But they might have stopped doing that at like fucking 17, 16. And I'm still doing that maybe at like 24, 25.
Okay, so because I hear people say that, I'm going to push back because you can find 50-something-year-old women who still love celebrity gossip. I hear that, and I think that's completely
true. That's immature.
Yeah, that is immature. Why are you fixated on what other people, who other people are dating?
I never looked at that as immaturity, but you know what? You're fucking right, bro.
It's anecdotal and it's subjective. Like, okay, well, yeah, you laugh at fart jokes, but she's entrusted into who's dating who.
Yeah.
I mean, those are both immature things, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. No, they are.
So it just depends on what
in my opinion also.
It just depends on what
what is your idea of maturity? Yeah, that's what it depends. No, I wasn't asking, but that's what you were about to like. Yeah. It just depends on what your idea of maturity is.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's a person by person stand thing. Like, maybe it took a little bit longer for me to mature, but I think when I started maturing as a person, I still got a lot of work to do.
Oh, we all do.
But when I started maturing as a person, I started to try to hear other people's sides. Because beforehand, I would say I was this...
You change your perspective. You learn how to change your perspectives.
Beforehand, I was definitely super left-leaning, I guess. I was like, no, this is wrong. But then I think
that's the rebel in us, though. as a
maybe
but not rebel as in like I am this, but basically just those teenage years of just no, fuck that, I want to do shit my way. So our mind is kind of like that until it phases out. Like, you know what? Maybe it shouldn't. It can't be my way all the time. Let me see.
As you get older, you become a little more reserved, conservative.
Yeah,
because you're just like, well, this is my money.
No, some people do. Some motherfuckers just stay.
Like when somebody's like, this is my money, and I kind of don't want to give it away when I don't have to. Exactly. Or why should I help out that stranger?
Exactly.
And you're like, oh, well, that's fucked up. But then you get older and you're like, damn, these taxes are hitting. Yeah. This thing's taking my money. Like,
bro, I remember, bro.
And you developed a family and it
was so fucking stupid
concerned.
Back in the day. But I remember when I didn't understand gas, like gas prices. Yeah. Like when my aunt and shit would take us to school, like I would see the gas be like $4, like when it was crazy high, and this was we was in like ninth grade,
high school era.
Yeah, remember when it went like, stupid, bro. Like people were staying home.
Yeah, it was like $4 something a gallon.
People were stealing. I remember that like yesterday, bro, because we couldn't go to school because we couldn't take the bus. We was a little bit too far, so she would drive us. But it was like $4.50, $4.30. But I'm looking at it like it's only $4. You don't have $4 to get me to school. But then when I got older, I'm like, whoa, that was $4 a gallon? Yeah. And I might need about 20 gallons, bro. Yeah. You start doing like, oh my God, I would stay home too.
I'm not going anywhere.
But that's a maturity thing.
Sure. Yeah.
Your perspective changes. You think you're right in this standpoint as that's what I'm saying. What we're talking about now, I don't know. They might literally everything that I've just said on this and within this hour that we've been talking, it might change in the next 10 years.
Sure. And that's what because you've seen some of the gun things. We talked a little bit on.
Yeah, like gun reform and all that.
I'm looking at these 16, 17, 18-year-old kids, and I'm really glad that they're interested in what's going on in the world. And it sucks what they had to go through at the Parkland shooting. Yeah, but some of these kids, it's just like, right now you're super left-leaning on a lot of these issues. I'm not just gun reform.
Live some more.
Come back to me in 10 years and see how you feel. Because I thought the same thing when I was your age. And now I'm 10 years older, and I'm like, well, if I had a family and somebody came in. Now, personally, I wouldn't have a gun in my home personally. But it makes sense as to why people want it. And that's what
especially your environment.
Absolutely. And that's why I talked about maturing for me was listening to what other people had to say in particular viewpoints. You have to. That's why when we're talking about even Trump, people say, well, everyone who voted for Trump's a racist. I'm like, dog. You have to listen to other people and why they voted for. At least listen to why. Now, if they come out and say, well, yeah, I liked him because, I wanted a white guy in there.
We've been doing that a long time, too, though.
Steer clear of that person.
Going back to that point, listen to, not only listen to those people who got to those answers and why they move like that, but this is how we really change society's thoughts is when you listen to people who have multiple perspectives. Mm-hmm. So I know y'all probably think I'm Dick Ryan, but somebody like Peterson, he is a guy of multiple perspectives. He's not just standing on one side of like, this is like this. I'm a psychologist. I studied this. This is what it is. Mm-hmm. He's like, well, you know what? Let me think this over.
Absolutely.
Do you know how hard that is to do to the human ego?
But you know what? That's what scientists have to do
all the time.
When they come up with a new theory, and other scientists will try to debunk that theory that came.
They try to debunk. They try to shit on it.
Absolutely, until it becomes to the point where it's like, oh, we tested this out over and it works. So that's now a new scientific theory.
Exactly.
But theories can change.
Exactly.
Things can change
all the time, bro.
And that's why I don't like when people will hold what someone did 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Hold that against them.
And that brought me back to the fucking the Facebook thing we was talking about.
Yeah.
You can't, man, like some people, I mean, this is a complete side note, 10 seconds, but Facebook doesn't let you delete your profiles. So, and your pictures on top of that. So you can post something at 18, you got fucking beers in your hand, you may be doing drugs on the internet, but you're 18, you're fucking stupid, you think you're cool.
Yeah.
10 years later, you're more mature, you're more solidified, so you go and apply for a job, they'll look at that picture of you 18 and be like, oh, so you were into this, and people can say, some people say, well, they don't really count that, like, one of our fellow podcast members, Sumie, was saying like, oh, well, they don't really count that, blah, blah. But judgment, the court of public opinion is strong enough.
Speaking of judgment, though, that's what we've done for 200,000 years. That's kind of kept us safe. So it kept us safe. It was a survival tactic. So to tie it all in, when we go back to women and even the promiscuity aspect of things, look,
even just stereotypes.
Sure, all of that shit. Because I've heard women say, "Well, why should I be judged for how many people I have sex with?" I'm with you. Again, disclaimer. I hate that I have to say this every 5 seconds. I thoroughly don't care.
Yeah,
I thoroughly do not care if you have sex with a bunch of people. Like in my heart of hearts, I don't give a fuck. But my thing is when you do an action, you get judged based off of your race, your socioeconomic upbringing.
You know what this is tying into?
What?
Personal accountability.
Personal accountability. Yeah,
This is one of our major topics.
You get judged off of your race, your socioeconomic upbringing, the parents, the people you were born, the family you were born into. Those are things you can't even control.
Exactly.
Let alone the things you do control, like the friends you keep, or the car,
birds of a feather flock together.
And real shit. So what makes you think, if you're getting judged on all those things, what makes you think that you're not going to be judged for an action that you partake in? Whether it's good judgment or bad. It was
10 years ago. The judge of public opinion is strong. And you ain't got to fucking go through trial.
Yeah, it sucks.
You're going to get burned.
And that's my thing. So when you're saying I shouldn't be judged for this, it's like, yo, sweetheart, you're completely ignoring the human nature. We always judge.
That's what, like you said.
Sorry for saying sweetheart, but whatever. But we've been judging. So my thing is this: if you do want to go out and have sex with a bunch of men, go for it. But you can't get mad when people judge you for that.
And that ties me into like person accountability, which ties into once you hit a certain age, and if you're not a recluse and you're not staying in the house every fucking day, realize that you're a role model. I don't give a fuck what you do, what job you have. Absolutely. You're a role model to the younger person who looks up to you, to the younger kids who walk down the street and see you driving or see you smoking or see you reading or see you stealing. Yeah. Like, you're a role model. People see that within their communities and think, that's cool, that's bad. Yeah. And we're fucking sponges at a young age. Yeah. So if we see something and somebody says, hey, that's cool, we naturally be like, well, I guess it is cool.
And back to I love that you're saying setting the example. I want to, because we just talked about women being accountable, quote unquote. I don't consider you being promiscuous a thing towards you. You need to be you can do what you want. Yeah. But I do want to touch on men who will talk about, let's just say, what's a topic? Marriage, or not marriage, but I'm blanking on the term. Yeah. Fucking, not alimony. What's the other fucking shit? Why am I
breaking? What? Wait a minute. You said between marriage?
No, say you have a child and a child support. Holy shit.
Child support. Yeah. I'm like,
sorry, guys. That might have been one of the bigger brain farts I've ever had in my life. But you talk about child support and you be like, well, I'm paying too much for these kids and child supports. This is outrageous. Why should
this is not fair?
Yeah, it's not fair. Well, guess what? You made the adult decision to stick your dick in her vagina, get her pregnant, and y'all had these kids. That's your responsibility. So yeah, the child support payments are too high. You shouldn't have had the kids.
Exactly.
Have some personal accountability. Exactly. All right, you bring a child into the world, and I get it. Yeah, maybe it is unfair. Life's not fair. I want to get life is not fucking fair.
It's not supposed to be.
It's not. Mother Nature's erratic.
She's gonna weed out the motherfuckers who think it should be fair, and they're weak. And guess what? She's gonna find a way to teach you.
Guess what? Father law supports it.
Exactly. You goddamn right.
So look,
damn right.
That's why I'm saying, yo, you do an action, you can't
get the consequence.
Yo, that's what happens.
With that bitch.
So being promiscuous, the consequences of that are judgment. How about just one? Yeah, that's a big consequence.
Yeah, that's a big one.
But you got to rock with that. That's something. If you want to partake in that action, you're gonna have some consequences with it. You have that child with that woman, and now you have to pay child support payments. Yeah. That's the consequence of that. Don't bitch and complain about it.
I agree.
All right, that's just what you got to do.
Judgment. Now, there's a difference between double standards.
Sure.
So basically,
what's your take on double standards?
I'm not. It's hard because it's not fair. Like you said, life isn't fair.
It's not fair.
But I don't know, bro. Well, I really don't know.
My take on double standards is that they go both ways.
Yeah.
And there's
feel like they keep shit. They're just they're like their judgment.
Yeah.
They kept us safe in certain situations.
Sure. I mean it sucks. Life's not fair.
Yeah.
So
when you tell your daughter, "Hey, get your ass in this house at 7," well, why can't he stay out till 9? Or blah blah blah. It's not. It's that's the curfew, but in the broad aspect, it's more of a.
It's a protection.
We got to protect the women more than the men.
Absolutely. Like, here's the thing. I've never had to worry about walking to my car late at night and fearing for my life. A woman does.
Yes.
If I hypothetically speaking, if I were to have a daughter, I'd be
and
like,
the sad part is just because she has a vagina.
Yeah. And hypothetically speaking, if I had a daughter, you're carrying mace with you. Carrying pepper spray with you at all times, just for that reason. I wouldn't have to tell my son that.
Exactly.
All right, so that's that sucks.
That
but
fucking
it's a double
sucks
standard.
ass.
You got to.
But it's set in place to protect. Like we've been doing that for a long time. That's personal accountability, bro. So
I've started to become more and more into that. Or get into that.
Personal accountability is everything to me, bro, and that's why I want to get into one of my favorite joints is discipline. Mm-hmm. So I listened to I let Alpha listen to an episode.
Great episode.
His name is Jocko Willing. He has a podcast called the Jocko Willing Podcast. But he was a SEAL. He was a
Navy SEAL.
He was I think he was a Marine. Either he was a SEAL or Marine. I'm sorry for not remembering, but he was strong headed, like get the shit done type of guy. So. And it ties back into Peterson because that's what we kind of clicked on for that episode. But Peterson breaks down and Jocko breaks down like it's possible to create our own, which ties back into our religion.
There you go, man. It's lovely how all this ties in.
Hell and heaven can be a mind. I honestly think it is a mind state. Mm-hmm. Some people can see it as a fallacy or just a place of the afterlife. Yeah. I think it's a here and now and where you're at in your life and an emotional state that you're in.
Sure.
So
we could be living it like just to get on a philosophical, can I pronounce it? A philosophical level. This could be hell, and maybe not being conscious of what's going on. Maybe being dead is the heaven because it's like you're going through this personal hell. You're thinking, you're stressing. When you're dead, there's no stress.
That's so crazy.
You're not cognizant. You're not cognizant of anything, but you're relieved of all the stress.
That's so real. So, and then you might end up in that place, simulation theory. You might end up in a whole new life, or just a better one, a worse one.
Weirdly enough, if there's one thing for whatever reason, there's no factual evidence that I have to believe this. I could kind of get behind reincarnation.
I kind of
for whatever reason.
The more I'm going, bro, I can too.
If there's one thing I could get into, I think it would be that. I still don't believe it
because I've always thought about really like diving. Like I want to really study what they think, and because of course nobody has proof or evidence, but we have. The world is too crazy for you not to at least take that into account.
Sure.
Like we look at something like like fucking clouds or fucking grass. Like we look at that and just be like, so what? It's clouds or grass. Yeah. But you're only talking like that because it's always been prevalent. You're a human being. You got shit to worry about. You got bills. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, you're right.
Bro, if you really think about it, we're fucking on a floating rock flying through a blank black sky. Like just floating.
Bro, like, if you look at how diverse the Earth is, you don't think the universe is that diverse? We don't even know what the fuck is at the bottom of the ocean.
Exactly. And we can see
that's 70%.
We can see other planets. Like, that's insane, bro.
70% of the Earth we don't know anything about.
But we swear.
Yeah. People swear they know everything about an afterlife.
Sorry for that tangent on the side, but I wanted to get back into discipline. So Peterson was breaking down like you create your own heaven or hell. So he brought up Brett brought that up too. Just far as an argument, I'm using this as an example, guys, because I feel like it was one of the most clearest ones. So when you argue, like say, you in a relationship, you and your girl, it's best to find the reason why you're arguing versus trying to win, trying to get a tally.
Wow.
So you create, you get you make a woman your wife, or vice versa, husband. But I'm going wife because I'm a male. So you make a woman your wife because she's strong, or maybe she's independent, or she's just, you just feel like she's good for you and you like her at that time. So when y'all argue, if you're constantly trying to win, and you do win, quote unquote, because sometimes it's not winning, you're just getting your point over or across and shutting hers down. You end up creating a loser.
By defeating her ego.
By defeating her all the time. You just created a loser. So what did you just do? Let's say 6 months. You've beat her up for 6 months verbally. You've won every argument. Now 6 months later, you're miserable because she has no self-esteem. She knows she's not right at anything. You did that.
You created that.
So now you're mad that you're married to a loser.
Wow.
You just created your own hell. You're miserable now because you're like, I'm stuck with this person.
That's an incredible point.
That shit blew my fucking mind, bro.
But that's the reason when you specifically talked about Brett talking about finding the solution. That's why I say, hey, instead of chastising the person who voted for Trump, why don't you figure out why they did that?
Exactly. Go back.
In this relationship, you and your girl are arguing. Well, why are we arguing about this again?
Exactly. And what's the underlining tone?
And then how do we solve it to get better?
Exactly.
So we can get
and this
past
is what
it.
Jocko brought up while Jordan was on there. He was saying, all right, let's bring up an example of you sit at the dinner table and you get pissed off because the chicken is dry. You cuss her out because the chicken is dry.
Yeah.
It's not about dry chicken. You feel me? It's so many things under that. You feel me? Like, so maybe you're mad at her because she always does this, or maybe you're mad at her because she doesn't take the time out to learn how to make the chicken moist.
Yeah.
Or maybe she just doesn't care. Those are the reasons that you need to be picking at, not blowing up over something that's really
that could be fixed.
Easy.
Yeah.
Put some fucking hot sauce on it. You feel me? Like, no, get to the get to the root.
The fact that and you've taught me a little bit about this too, about nipping something in the bud off the rip. Because what I would, and this is me growing as a person, I would let shit slide because I was like, oh, it's not that big of a deal.
Once it's simmered, it boils.
Yeah, I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. Whatever, I'll let them do this. But that over time, that builds up, and
I like that you brought that up too.
Over time, you let that build, and you're like, wow, why am I so resentful to this person? Why don't I like this person anymore?
Exactly.
And it's all these little things that built up. So you got to nip it in the bud. And you say this regularly. For me, for myself, I need you to do this. So I don't resent you.
Exactly.
And I think, and people will hear that and say, oh, well, dude, that's kind of rude. But not if you are someone who is self-reflective.
Exactly.
Not if you're somebody who looks within
and
themselves.
And you can take criticism.
Absolutely. Look, a lot of people, and I'm still working, but I thoroughly want people to tell me what I'm doing wrong so I can fix it. So when I specifically ask you, well, okay, what am I doing wrong? And you tell me, well, you're just doing this wrong. Well, I need an example.
And don't blurt it.
Yeah,
I need, don't just fucking shove it out because your ego is getting into it.
I need a specific example so it gives me something to look at and be like, okay, that was that one specific example where I was being wilding or I was wilding and I should have acted this way. I'm going to try to fix that. I'm going to work on that. And that's how you become a better person.
Self-accountability. You're not just saying, I don't act like that. What are you talking about? No, you act like that.
Yeah, getting defensive.
It's like, no, take control of what the fuck is wrong.
Sure.
What you feel. I hate when people, like, that's why I've got into this discipline thing so heavy. Like, I hate when people just fucking complain about what they're bad at and then try to just use what's easy to cover it up.
Sure.
So another one that people see, I like using the ones that kind of annoy people or irritate people because it's so prevalent and it can be changed if you want it to fucking be changed. So I'm gonna say, like, weight.
Yeah. People
are saying, oh, I'm so fat, like, oh, I'm so fucking lazy. But then if you're so fat and you hate your body, well, I'm gonna just buy bigger clothes. That's fucking stupid.
Sure. Or don't you also get pissed off when people are like, oh man, I suck at this thing. But they're saying that so you can feel bad for them.
Exactly.
No, you suck at it. Get better.
Get better, motherfucker.
Get smarter.
I hate that shit, bro. That shit like gets me to the core, man.
And we talked about this a little bit before the podcast. If you don't, when you're not as informed as somebody or whatever, get informed. Read up on
or
shit.
Shut the fuck up.
Or shut up. Yeah,
one of the two.
It's one of the two. You gotta pick. Get more informed, and that's why I'm really big on. You gotta listen to other people, other voices that you don't agree
ones
with.
Ones that you hate.
That sharpens your mind. All right?
So much.
It sharpens
and you
your
learn
mind.
how to fight. Verbally, what
because you know what their tactics are. It's studying your opponent.
Exactly. The play. That's like watching
game film.
Yeah, exactly. Watching motherfuckers that you hate is like watching game film, bro.
Think about this. Would it be logical if you're on a basketball team and you're the coach? And you're going up against a really good basketball team. Is it logical for you to
y'all got a crazy rivalry.
Yeah. Is it logical for you to be like, all right, guys, we're just going to run our sets and not know what they do? We're not going to study their game
and
film.
And then y'all get your asses smacked.
And you get smacked because they study what you do.
Exactly.
All right, when you're setting that back, you guys like to run. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little technical.
No, do that.
But like, all right, they like to run flare screens or whatever.
Exactly.
Or they run the 1-4 high.
Exactly.
Your opponent knows what you run, but you don't know what their offense is.
That's fucking playing chess. We're not playing checkers, nigga.
Yeah, you have to learn what your opponent is talking about, what their viewpoints are, if you are diametrically opposed to them. Now I look at it that way, and I also look at it as, I can learn something from them.
Yeah.
Because maybe I didn't look at that point through a conservative viewpoint.
Yeah.
And it switched up the way I think about things.
Yeah.
You got to be willing to learn.
That's fucking
too.
dope that you said that, bro. That shit really. That's about to be something that sticks in my mind now. I never looked at it as watching. I've always done it, but I never. And now I got a real a solid example of all right, when you're watching an opponent, you can use a person's. Oh, I don't like anything that he says. I don't like anything that he does. He's smart as fuck. I don't like it though. I don't want to watch it. No, you gotta watch that shit so you can learn tactics and strategies, and you get better.
Yeah, and so now when you're debating facts with that person, you could be like, well, actually, I researched what you said.
Exactly.
Boom. This is how you count. That's
why
I
know when you're about to move. I know where you're about to go with this.
And what I realize now is I'm not even gonna get when I know I'm. Not even an argument, but when I'm discussing something with somebody and I can naturally tell, they don't know as much about this particular thing as I do, I might just shut off the conversation, period, because it's just a pointless convo. I'm not learning anything
and
from it.
We're not about to go in circles.
Yeah, and I'm not learning anything from it.
Exactly. Yeah, there's always, and not to, I love our other members of the podcast, but that's the reason why I wanted me and Alpha Dolo on this one, because I didn't want any other opinions or sways coming into this.
Absolutely.
I wanted to just be on a one-on-one. What do you think? What do I think? Because it's easy. Not saying that anybody else is less smarter, or I don't consider myself smart. I just read what other motherfuckers write, and I remember it.
I listen to what smarter people have to say.
Exactly.
And then I form an opinion off of that.
Exactly. And that's what they do.
Well, yeah, and the thing that's great about our podcast is that everybody's really good at particular things, and they're really witty about particular things.
That's why we come together like fucking Megatron, you feel me?
Sure,
we all got our own superpowers, and we come together to make that's why we can spin off and do our own thing and still hold strong.
Because not to toot our own horns.
Yeah, fuck that. We toot, nigga.
We know more about the things we've been talking about.
Into.
This is what we are really into.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that the other podcast members don't know about this
shit,
but we're really into it. Like, we spend hours.
This is our life.
Like, I love doing this. I love, and I love talking when I know that somebody's smarter than me on a particular issue. Oh, man, I want to shut up.
Yeah.
Because I want to listen to what they have to say.
And just cognizant of what they're saying.
Sure.
They know what they're talking about. They know that it holds weight. And that's why I don't like people. That's why I love Alpha's opinion so much, because I know he's not going. I hate people. Not hate people. I hate when people go they go for the political aspect and the politically correct answer all the time. I don't want to hear No, I'm not going to do that. I vote for this. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm for this. No, I'm not. That's not right to do. Man, fuck you, bro. Like, what do you really think?
What do you think?
Yeah.
And that's why when you break it down as to what people really think, you'll find that most people are kind of in the middle.
Yes. We walk the line of good and evil.
Absolutely.
You feel me? Like,
you know how amazing it is that everything just ties in. It's like bro.
That's real shit, bro.
For real how it is. And that's why I think we need to have conversations like this
all the time.
Facts.
All the time. I feel like because conversations like this need to be see, people would think like, whew, I got that. That was a good convo. We can have another one maybe a month later. I need these conversations all the time because we're going through life every day, all the time.
Absolutely.
Terms are always changing. Minds are always changing. Lingo, your facilities, political aspects, political views. Sure. Everything is changing every single day.
And that's why when people get stuck in their way of thinking, I'm like,
that fucking sucks, bro.
You're not going to get it. Think about how things change. We talked about the state of Ohio, how in 2008, in 2012 it went for Barack, and in 2016 it went for Trump. You got to look at it. Things change.
Yeah.
Economic situations change. People's pocketbooks change. People vote based off of their pocketbooks for more.
Damn right.
So
when currency is changing.
Sure. Come on.
Something that was so stable that we thought would never leave.
And guess what?
Boom.
Like, right.
And people are scared out of their minds.
Speaking of vice, though, it was crazy. They did something where I think it's Venezuela. No, not Venezuela. Some country in South America. Okay. Their official currency is now cryptocurrency.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, but they're saying crazy. It's a little dangerous because the government's going to find a way to fuck it up, as
of
it
course.
normally does.
And that's Mother Nature taking her course. Like, it's going to find a way to always slide back in. But I also wanted to kind of because we chopped it up on a lot of issues.
Yeah,
but I think
we hit a lot of the things we talked about.
But my biggest thing is tying a personal accountability and a discipline. Like, I'm really big on that, man. Because I'm so far from perfect. I fight with good and evil all the time, bro. Like, I fight with laziness all the time.
I did it today.
But that's what I'm saying.
How to fight.
But that's what I'm saying. So, like, y'all don't know, but we fucking struggled trying to get this podcast together. It seems like it's easy.
But you know what? The thing is, we could have been like, you know what, fuck it, we'll wait for Driss to get here.
Exactly.
And then we'll record tomorrow.
Exactly. Because y'all know, everybody, Driss is the captain of the boat as far as setting all this shit up. So
absolutely.
Me and Alpha had to do this shit on our own. We looked like fucking idiots.
And
we had to call this dude 100 times.
Yeah, we realized, shit, we're idiots.
Yeah.
We called Driss up and
we took a personal accountability and said, hey, we don't know this shit. Let's talk to somebody who does.
But we don't want to put this shit off until tomorrow because it's like, no, we want to get it done today.
Get it done, bro. Get it done.
And while the ideas are fresh and we're in our creative space, we got to get it done today.
Exactly. And that's why I'm so fucking big on discipline, because I've always loved the term, two terms. Well, one of my favorite quotes by far since my 27 years of age is John F. Kennedy's don't pray for easier times, pray for stronger men.
Wow.
Phenomenal fucking quote. I got that shit up in my bedroom because it's like, you don't taking the elevator. Look at the person who takes the elevator all the time and look at the person who takes the stairs. Like, the person who takes the stairs, they learn a lot more. They had a lot more time to reflect. They can meditate more. They're more fit. They can withstand that hurricane versus the person who took the easy route. When they get upstairs with that person who took the stairs, they got the gut. They got a fat mindset. They taking the easy way out. They always want something handed to them. Mm-hmm. And majority of the time, I mean, I'm using the elevator and the stairs as an example, but that person who takes the elevator, they're depressed. Because they're not fighting against those vices. You can call them vices that just sit in your brain all day. That sit in your body all day. So when you get up in the morning, treat everything like it's your job. When if you don't get up for 5 days in a row and don't go to work, what's going to happen? You're going to get fired.
Yeah.
What's going to happen? You're going to not have money. What's going to happen? You're going to get kicked the fuck out of your house.
When you think it's acceptable to live your life through cloudiness. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm somebody, I love to get drunk, have fun.
Fuck yeah. There's nothing wrong with that.
But when that's clouding your judgment, when that's clouding your everyday life, when you're going through life getting fucked up or getting high just to survive, just to get through the day, it's a problem. There's a level of accountability. There's a level of accountability you have to have, and you got to say, look, man, I'm fucking up.
Exactly.
Not only am I alienating people, but I'm in the long run, this is going to be bad for myself. I got to pull back, buckle in, you know what I'm saying, and get to work and fix myself, fix my state of mind, get better in general.
Exactly.
A lot.
That's why people. I mean, I'm not going to go into the whole actual health thing, but when people say, "Oh, I'm depressed in this," "Oh, I take this medicine for this," "Oh, I do this," "I don't know why I act like this," I go back to: are you eating, and what are you eating, and are you pushing your body to its limits?
Absolutely.
Like, because that's all you got to do.
But think about how much better you feel as a person after you get done working out.
Think about how better of a person when it's not even just the working out. When you do something that you know that you need to do.
Absolutely.
You just feel fucking good. You got what you need.
The stress
done.
is relieved.
Yes.
Think about when, all right, instead of, say you get a project in school and you get on it right away and you have this time to research and do what and research what you're talking about.
Done.
You get it done, and then you get that paper back, and it's
a fucking A+.
A 58. I'm going to use my little brother, for example. He studied up on a particular subject matter. Yeah. It was abortion, actually.
Damn, what grade is he in?
He's a junior in high school.
That's strong at that age.
But you know what? I kind of actually respect that teacher for saying, let's talk about these.
Let's get it going at an early age.
Right. And, he was like, all right, I got to study this extensively. I researched it. And he's like, yeah, I got a 58 out of 60. I'm like, oh, that's great.
Fucking awesome.
But the thing is, like, I looked up a bunch of things. And he had, like, it was crazy to me how he was just like, how we got to his viewpoint. Yeah. I'm not going to say what it was because he's 17.
Yeah.
But I thought it was dope how he put in the work. Yeah. He studied and he got into it. He was like,
and that's what happens, bro.
Sure.
Most of the time when you do something that you hate, you end up loving it because you
think you hate it.
Exactly. You think you hate it. That's really a childish mentality to me. Like, that's why I can't fully take somebody serious if I know that they're not pushing their mind, their body, and their discipline to a certain level. I can't trust you all the way.
And because Curtis lives with me, and Driss. But like, so they know firsthand. I'll be locked in my room for hours, but when I'm locked in there, it's hours of content on that YouTube. It's not frivolous shit that I'm watching. I don't get me wrong. I watch entertaining things too.
You're supposed to. That's the balance.
Sure.
You gotta have a balance.
But like, I don't care if I'm hungover. I'm like, I want to hear this person speak on whatever, even if it's just background noise.
Exactly.
I need it because it's like, oh, that's a good point. And then next thing you know, I'm locked in, and then I'm like, I'm researching shit on my laptop. I'm like, hold up. Well, how did he come to that? What source did he get that from?
And it just doesn't stop. You feel like you're gonna go. I feel like when for example, that new book I just got. Once I get into it, I'm like, all right, let me just try to get through a page. Mm-hmm. And literally 90% of the time I read a page, I literally go at least 20, 30 pages. And then within that time, I'm looking up, oh, what's this word mean? What's this? Or whoa, where is he taking this?
It's funny because like, sometimes I'll use these words and people will be like, oh, look at you trying to, and I'm like,
but it's not about that. And I like shit like that.
But it's funny. In the past, I would have been like, oh, these niggas think I'm like nerding out. Now I'm like, no, you're just a dumbass.
Yeah.
Like you didn't want,
it's not even, you're lazy.
That's what you know what? You're 1,000% right. It's not even a matter of you being a dumbass. It's like, well, why don't you try to,
you don't want to take the time.
Well, why don't you figure out what that word means? Like now when I come across a word I don't understand, first thing I do on my phone,
boom. Bruh, if you look through my history, because I've been so deep into this book, if you look through it's all my past history is just definitions. They're all definitions, bro. Like 50 definitions.
Absolutely. That and like maybe a few porn accounts.
Yeah, of course.
But no,
real jokes aside, hey, man, that's the balance between the good and the evil, bro.
Jokes aside, though, like I feel like, why would I want to not only limit myself, but I feel like I'm malnourished if I don't go out and feed myself new information.
Exactly, bro.
You know what I'm saying? I need
that's a fucking awesome word. Yeah, malnourished, bro.
Feed me more content of dope shit. of more of things to where I could grow and learn as a person.
Yeah, bro.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't
I
do
agree
that.
with that whole fucking heartedly, bro. That's such a good word. Because when you can be malnourished in anything, literally anything, vitamins to health, to mental health, and people don't understand, bro. Like, there's chemicals within the body that needs to be stabilized. Some of these need to be risen. Some of these need to be lowered.
Yeah.
So, like, when you're lazy and you're depressed, what goes up? Cortisone. What happens when cortisone rises? You're stressed. What happens when you're stressed? You have a fucking heart attack. That's what the body is meant to do.
Wow.
You're when you
go into cardiac arrest.
Yeah, exactly, because your fucking heart is literally like, oh my God, something happening. Nothing's happening. You're just fucking depressed.
That's incredible.
So when you kick your ass mentally, learning something. When you kick your ass physically, running, lifting this heavy shit that you don't want to lift.
Right.
Your body is like, you get that cortisone out of your system.
The stress. That's
and
why people
then
are
your heart
stressed.
is like, whew,
that's why
let me get stronger.
That's why people are less stressed after they work out. Or
exactly.
When you read up on something and you gain knowledge, you're willing to have the discussion that you wouldn't have beforehand with people.
Look at a fucking rainforest, bro. Most rainforests, they're so dense because they experience the worst fucking weather. So they get stronger.
Right. Wow.
They have to, they will die.
Right. Life's about, and that's why I'm saying, like, when you're not willing, when you're shutting people out because they have a differing viewpoint, or they're saying shit you don't like to hear about yourself, that's a you problem.
That's not a you problem, bro. Problem.
Your inability to not listen to people when it's not even, I don't even take it as a critique. It's like, especially when it's coming from my friends, I know that they're doing it to get me better. So, Exactly. And ultimately, I want to be better. I want to listen to what you have to say.
You goddamn right. And that goes back to what we was talking about earlier, something I always say, bro. Like, if I said that in another podcast too, if I like you and I see you as a good friend and I see we can have a potential future of creating good conversations, if you're doing something that irks me or I just really don't appreciate it, I have to let you know, because I like hanging around you. Yeah. So I'm going to let you know what I don't like that you do, because I want to have you keep hanging around me.
Facts.
So if you keep doing the shit that I don't like, if you don't take my... And then you don't have to take my criticism. You could take it and throw it to the side, but just know that there's consequences to that. And I'm not saying I'm the best guy to hang around, but I won't hang around you anymore.
Right.
Don't act confused or say that it came out of left wind. Why did you stop hanging out? I thought we were cool.
I addressed it.
I addressed it. You didn't take it. I'm ghost.
Yeah. Bye.
Yeah.
That's the accountability factor, though.
Exactly.
And that's the actions that you partake in. People, if I point something out and say, this is wrong.
Yeah.
And you continue to do that, bye.
Exactly.
I'm not wasting my time trying to salvage some shit that I don't want to salvage.
And I brought up to Alpha, we had this conversation, I believe it was yesterday before the podcast. Now I can take the personal accountability on myself and say, sometimes I might be wrong in that aspect, because humans are humans. The human mind changes. Just because I don't like what this person does now and he doesn't listen or she doesn't listen, doesn't mean they won't open up and change later.
Yeah.
So I can't, sometimes I have that in my head to where I'll judge, not too quick. I'll judge what you're doing because I don't like it, but then I'll shut you out forever. Like, nope, bad guy. I ain't fucking with you. And I admit that I do that, and I need to work on that, because it's like, that guy might change. That woman might change in the future. So not let me just burn the bridge.
But it's also, you got to give me examples of you changing too.
Exactly, bro.
If that person's
I gotta
giving
see
you,
it,
and that's why.
I'm not saying put it on display,
sure,
but I gotta see it.
Yeah, and that's why I'm to the simmering point. It's you addressed it originally or off the jump, and if you see that they made that change, great. So now I know I can address something with them in a mature adult manner, and then we can move past that.
I'm glad that you said that in a mature adult manner, because that's how Jocko brought it up. He was saying sometimes some people are a little bit weaker in taking criticism. Doesn't mean that they won't take it, but sometimes you got to deliver it in a certain type of capsule. So say if you know this person a little bit more subsidized to fucking break, if you say at the wrong thing at the wrong time, you can say, if he keeps putting his feet up on his desk and I don't like it, I can use it as something as he's helping me. So if you put your feet up on my desk, you got office, you put your feet up on my desk. I don't like it. I let it slide the first time. That's where I fuck up. Because now instead of saying, hey man, take your feet off my desk, I don't like that. Now you can take that as hostile. Or I can say, hey man, I hate germs. Like it fucking freaks me out. So can you help me? And just take your feet, and then they'll feel like, oh, you know what, my fault, bro. They'll feel like they're helping you.
People don't like to be attacked.
Exactly.
So it is going at them and saying,
you got to give it to but some people are strong enough to know that you're not attacking them. They're just like, oh, he's giving me blatant criticism. But some people are a little bit, I don't like calling it soft or weak, but they just take it a different way. They need a different type of capsule to take that pill. So it's like, hey, man, can you help me and not do that, please? Because I fuck with you. Can you not do that? Help me out, bro.
Yeah.
So that might make it a little bit easier for them.
And most rational people will be like, oh, I mean, well, yeah, my feet are on his desk. Maybe I should take the shit off.
Bro.
But some people don't get that.
Yeah. Personal accountability. Fuck that shit.
Yo,
learn it,
shit.
goddammit.
Real shit. A lot of people can learn.
Damn it.
Yo, I think we did a lot. We did solid.
Yeah, we got into a lot. I knew, but this is probably a one of the long ones. But I knew me and Alpha was going to. I knew we was going to do this.
I didn't even care how long.
Yeah,
for the most part.
Because this shit. This is everyday shit that people think, bro.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's subconsciously.
Sure.
Because the conscious can be so bombarded by work. Where's the nearest coffee? I need to get gas. Why would he say this to me at the party?
Holy shit.
Like that shit can just weigh on it's so much more to think about, so much more to be about, so much more improvement that you can make within yourself and within your friend group.
Right. Well, you brought up that one of the little examples. Why did he say that to me at the party?
Yeah.
Why didn't you ask him?
Exactly.
Like, well, where's this?
Like that.
Well, where's this coming
fucking
from?
Like that.
Instead of letting that fester, like now you're thinking about it, and now you're stressing out.
And
you could have just asked him off the jump.
It just took up 8 hours of your day.
You could have just asked him off the jump. Well, why would you say something like that? And where's this coming from? Just in a
that fucking easy, bro.
And not in an attacking way, but just in a mature way. Like, well, where is this coming from? And why do you feel this way?
Be honestly curious. Just be honestly curious,
and then you won't be thinking about it for the next week.
Exactly. You'll have an answer.
Right.
You don't ponder on something if you don't have an answer to it.
You may not like the answer.
Yeah.
But at least you got it.
Fuck that. You're an adult. Take that shit. Some people just not gonna like you. Some people, man, there's fish. That's why I love nature. Like there's fish. There's compatible fish and non-compatible fish.
Right.
This fish can be in this tank with this fish, never seen each other. They just don't get along.
Yeah.
He'll kill this one if it's in his territory. That's Mother Nature and the fucking law of order that's set up within it. That's how it's supposed to go, man.
I love that.
So we're going to end on that note.
Love that.
Yeah. I don't know what we're going to call this podcast.
I don't know.
We'll figure out something dope.
We'll figure it out. And, I don't even know what we're going to put in the description.
Yeah, this is a lot of shit. Just put a lot of shit.
I'm going to let y'all know this is just off of what we just discussed. Hopefully you guys like it. I think people will.
Yeah, I think it's a solid, like I said, there's a solid people who need a chunk of. That's why I'm not about the fluff shit. There's a constant balance of fluff that we need,
I don't get off on that.
I don't. I like having a pause, but a mindgasm, an orgasm of the brain.
Yeah,
bro.
I mean, no, and this is no disrespect to when we.
Like I said, I love the other members of the podcast.
This is no disrespect to even when we did.
They're so much smarter than me in other aspects, bro.
Well, when we did the movie, I was like, man, I could care less about any
and it can run circles.
None of that shit means anything to me.
Exactly.
But it means something to other people.
Exactly.
We got to talk about it from time to time.
Exactly.
But this is the shit I know me and Kurt rock with the most.
Yeah, bro. But yeah, man, we appreciate y'all tuning in and definitely like, subscribe. We're probably gonna drop this one maybe in the middle of the week because we're gonna drop tomorrow. We'll drop every Sunday, so y'all gonna get that, and then we'll probably drop this in the middle of the week. So give y'all a little pick me up for one hump day.
Yeah.
Oh, and hump day actually is what?
Oh shit! Yeah,
that's your boy.
I got a birthday coming.
Yeah, hey,
damn,
it's Alpha's birthday.
I was
on
wondering
Wednesday.
where you were going with hump day. I was like, yeah, it is. Wednesday is my
Alpha's
birthday.
is Wednesday. Wednesday is the man with the plans birthday. Man, it's his king day.
I think you're gonna drink.
We gotta balance that good and evil, man.
Right. But you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna work out in the morning.
You goddamn right. You gotta balance.
Yeah.
You gotta fucking balance. But yeah, once again, guys, we appreciate y'all tuning in and like, subscribe, and have a blessed week. Don't let the work week take over, and you know, let us know. Give us some feedback if we fucking. I'm gonna sign out like how Charlemagne. If you think we're smart, you're absolutely right. If you think we're idiots, you're right too.
Yeah, sure.
Because we literally are brilliant fucking idiots.
Yeah, way to shout out their podcast. No, I mean, hey, look,
they got a phenomenal podcast. I love them, bro.
I'm gonna check it out.
Man, listen, they're fucking good. Okay. They're fucking good, bro.
Right, I'm gonna check it out.
But yeah, we appreciate you guys. Signing out. Have a blessed week.